The Upanishads train us to shift our thinking. We are caught in a certain way of thinking where the ego gets further and further strengthened. It is the job of the Upanishads to broaden our outlooks and as though do some out of box thinking. In this 10th session in this series, we shall see a certain teaching methodology of the Upanishads known as Adhyaropa Apavada. A certain setting is presented and eventually the truth beyond that setting is revealed. We are talking about God and His creation in this session. Many of you, if not all of you, are aware how Ishavasya Upanishad declares Ishavasyamidam Sarvam. One must look at this entire universe as pervaded by God. There is not even an iota of space anywhere. There is not even a nanosecond of time on the axis of time where God is not. God is to be seen everywhere. But we may have a doubt, how are we to do that? We are so much steeped in time-bound processes. The phenomenal universe has everything beginning somewhere, staying for some time, and then setting. All right, the Upanishads say, we will let you know how God is everywhere by first coming a step below and using the language of how God as though was apart from the universe. And like phenomena happen, God enters the universe. This one line from the Upanishads is highly discussed, commented upon, debated upon, and so on. And this line is called Pravesha Shruti. Moment you say Pravesha Shruti, anywhere in Vedanta discussions, it refers to a particular mantra. In this Taittiriya Upanishad, Brahmananda Valli, which is found in Yajurveda, Krishna Yajurveda. As you know, Ishavasya and Brihadaranyaka belong to Shukla Yajurveda, and a few Upanishads like Kathopanishad, Taittiriya Upanishad, etc., belong to Krishna Yajurveda. Two sections again. So, with this in mind, let's get down to the mantra which helps us see things from a different perspective, which is necessary. A new way of seeing is necessary in order to liquidate our present sense of who we are, who God is, and what this creation is. The present picture has to be liquidated, dissolved. Then there arises the Vedantic vision, which holds the key for liberation, for Paramananda Prapti and Atyantika Dukkha Nivritti. Let's therefore see a couple of very simple slides, and That is where we take a look at the mantras proper. So here we are, and the title of this session, as we mentioned already, is God and His creation. On this day of September 19, 2025, this is our 10th class under the series Know the Upanishads. And the central pair of sentences in this mantra portion is Tat Srishtva Tadeva Anupravishat. Tat Srishtva Tadeva Anupravishat. Tadanupravishya. In this way, the mantras proceed, which we shall see. But primarily, what is meant by Tat Srishtva Tadevanupravishat? Srishtva is having created. If you say Jalam Pitva Narayanaha Upavishat, there are two actions here. Pitva is having drunk water. That's the first action. And then Narayana, a certain man, certain boy called Narayana, Upavishat, he sat. So he sat is the second verb. And in this Pitva, in the mantra Srishtva, there is Tva. And wherever Tva comes, it is implied that there are two actions, and the action implied in the word having Tva happens first. For example, a lady read a book, and as she read a few pages, she went to sleep. So, Pustakam Patitva Vimala Nidram Agachat. She read a book, that is the first action, then she went to sleep, the second action. It can be Nidram, Pustakam Patitva Vimala Nidram Gacchati. That's a different issue, whether the last verb is in present or past tense. But there are two actions. You know, you see a movie and you become happy. Seeing the movie is first. This last example. Chalana chitram drishtva. Drishtva, seeing. Upon seeing, having watched the movie for some time, Chalana chitram drishtva aham anandam anubhavami. I experience certain happiness. So I am laboring to give three examples, for it is important here that if you take this sentence, Veda mantra, if you take this Veda mantra literally, it is as though there is a time gap. One is God created this universe, Vishwam Srishtva. He created this entire universe, and then maybe after a minute, he entered. Tat eva anu pravishat. Pravishati means enters. Pravishat is entered. One is the time gap, and if you think about it, for a moment you wonder. So if he created it, and it is after a while that he entered it, before he entered it, what was the nature of the universe? Was it godless? Was it for some time devoid of divine presence? How can that be? So his all pervasiveness wasn't for all time. There was a time when He did not pervade the creation. He was waiting to enter. And then came the time when he said, okay, now it is time I enter. And he goes in. This is all childish. We said before, not even a moment God is apart from the universe, and not even in the minutest place in this creation, God is absent. God is in the universe at all time, at all place. No compromise on that. That is why we say such kind of thought development is deliberate superimposition to be subsequently negated. Deliberate superimposition and subsequent negation. Adhyaropa purvam apavadaha paschat. Tat srishtva tadevanupravishat. Both these are adhyaropa. And what is apavada, or after negating the apparent temporary situation, what prevails? That is not given here, but we will see further mantras where it is revealed, and more clearly Sri Shankaracharya, the great champion of Advaita Vedanta, clarifies that it is not to be taken literally. If it is taken literally, then it is as though God, Karana, is separate from this Srushti, which is the Karya. So in Taittiriya Upanishad, which most of you have studied, we have three vallis. Shiksha Valli, where certain discussion is given on right pronunciation of the mantra, some values are sprinkled, certain upasanas are given to us. Then there is the Brahmananda Valli, which is solid Advaita Vedanta. In Brahmananda Valli, there is so much food for thought on the higher plane. There is food for thought in every Valli. But Brahmananda Valli is not everybody's cup of tea. If you wish to get down to certain serious, elaborate study of Vedanta, take Brahmananda Valli along with Shankaracharya's commentary and get into it. Try to understand every bit of it. That will be a tremendous exercise. So we go to the mantra proper. This expression, tat srishtva tadeva anupravishat, which we already put on the title slide, appears here at the end of these few sentences. About 8 sentences, and 7th and 8th are the special focus of this session. In order to help us broaden our outlook, in order to help us do what is called Shruti Anusandhana, contemplation on Vedic mantras, because Vedanta welcomes tarka, logic, reason. Vedanta welcomes questioning also, but Vedanta cautions us, warns us against kutarka or dustarka. Dustarkat suviramyatam Shruti-matastarkaha anusandhiyatam, says Sadhana Panchakam of Sri Shankaracharya. Keep away from dustarka. A whole lot of our misery is because somehow we don't know when it happened, how it happened. We got into false arguments. And false arguments promote false values, And those false values lead to disintegration of personality. When we allow disintegration to take place in our personality, though we may know much Vedanta, we find we have no peace of mind. We live in conflict. There is disorder in our daily life. We say we are infinite, but we go after finite, petty pleasures and possessions. In order to free us from this trap of worldliness, Shruti Mataha Tarkaha. Such logic, such reasoning, such systematic thought development, and for heaven's sake, don't call it brainwashing. Don't use your vocabulary in the wrong area. This is not brainwashing. This thought development is a time tested tool to help us rise and rise. We rise and see things from a healthier perspective. And what is more, the healthier perspective helps us go beyond thinking itself. We then learn to be rather than think, rather than being in the sphere of doing or thinking. We learn how to be in the sphere of being. To be and to see is the high plateau where Vedanta leads us. So here we have the mantra from the Taittiriya Upanishad. As we said before also, it is from the Brahmananda Valli, the happiness or the bliss of Brahma. Today we are caught in Jiva. Jiva Bhava is the result of erroneous perception. We want to go over to Brahma, right seeing, Samyak Darshana. So, at a certain place, to be specific, in the sixth Anuvaka of Brahmananda Valli, of course, then later on there is a third Valli called Bhrigu Valli, but much of it is restating what is said in Brahmananda Valli. It goes here. So kamayata bahusyam prajayeti satapotapyata satapastaptva idagam sarvamasrajata yadidam kincha tat srishtva tadevanupravishat. That's how portion of the sixth Anuvaka is presented. So, Kamayata, Saha means God, the Supreme God, Ishvaraha, Brahma. Once you add some description, like Brahma is the creator, Brahma otherwise is the absolute reality beyond any description. No role, no quality, no attribute, no movement, no guna, no dravya, no sthiti, no gati. It is simply beyond description. But moment you put a label on Brahma, he creates this universe, he protects us, he answers our prayers, he is compassionate, he is good, and so on. That becomes Ishvara. So in Adhyaropa, that is deliberate superimposition, to be negated pretty soon, Brahma becomes the creator. How did he create it? How did all that happen? To help us understand with a less equipped mind, which is our case presently, God desired. God desired. Saha akamayata. So kamayata. And what was his desire? Did he desire to eat a mango? Did he desire to go traveling everywhere? No. In a manner of saying, it was as though God was bored with being one without a second. Ekam eva advitiyam. So we add in a manner of saying. In Sanskrit, there is an indeclinable, avyaya. Iva. Iva means as though. Rajjuhu sarpaha iva bhati. A rope seems to be as though it is a snake. The rope did not and does not and will not and cannot become the snake. But it as though is the snake now. Like that, Brahma as though desired and as though created. The Upanishad mantra itself says, what did he desire? To give a little more detail? Bahusyam, may I become many. Syam means it's a wish. Us, there is the verbal root us, to be. And Syam is may I be many, may I become many. Prajayeya, may I bring forth prajani. The English word prajani and the Sanskrit word praja have the same meaning. May I bring forth prajani, prajayeya iti. It's a wish. Syam is a wish. Prajayeya is a wish. And he did tapas. So did he go to the Himalayas and sit there and do tapas? Well, we are talking of a point of time where the creation had not yet taken place. There is no Himalaya, there is no bank of Ganga, there is no ashram, no temple, no Gurukula. God, then where did he do tapas? Well, in his own intelligence. So this is the highest definition of tapas. Elsewhere, tapas requires some samagri, some material, some place, some tools, some exercises. Do this, do that. Repeat this mantra. Stand on one leg. Raise your hands up. Urdhva bahur bhava. And face the sun. And do not eat for days on end. Drink only water. And after some time, stop taking water also. So many definitions of tapas. This year in December, there is the Yoga Utsava in Mysuru. And the whole 4 days program revolves around understanding tapas. Tapas from the yoga point of view. Tapas from Ayurveda point of view. Tapas in Puranas. And they have invited me to give a talk on tapas in Upanishads. I'm going to say, drawing from the TAITTIRIYA Upanishad Brahmananda Valli, the highest form of tapas is an operation of intelligence. God is by nature supreme intelligence, and that supreme intelligence exercises in itself, by itself, without requiring place or time or tools or supports or some settings and so on. Intelligence operates, and that is tapas. Therefore, in Mundaka Upanishad, there is a well-known saying, Tasya jnanamayam tapaha. Tasya jnanamayam tapaha. You see, karmamayam tapaha, vangmayam tapaha, shariram tapaha, all that are very valid, wonderful, but they are on a lower level. Bhagavad Gita talks about Trividam tapaha, shariram, vangmayam, and manasam. Devadvija Guru Prajna Pujanam Shauchamarjavam Brahmacharya Mahimsa cha Shariram Tapa Uchyate Anudvegakaram Vakyam Satyam Priyahitam cha yat Swadhyaya Abhyasanam chaiva Vangmayam Tapa Uchyate Manaprasadaha Saumyatvam Maunam Vinigraha Bhava Samshuddhirityetat Manasam Tapa Uchyate. And this Trividham Tapaha has to be performed in a sattvic way. You may do this Trividham Tapaha with some motive, with some reward in mind. No. In line with Karma Yoga, Sri Krishna says, if this Trividham Tapaha is performed without desiring any result whatsoever, respect elders without expecting anything, speak properly without exaggerating, without telling lies, without desiring any outcome. Outcome will come, but you don't desire because that's an impurity. Like that, always entertain noble thoughts. Don't have the thought, I'm entertaining noble thoughts because one day this will give me punya and that punya will bring me wealth. So desiring. So three kinds of tapas, shariram, vangmayam, manasam, on the plane of the physical body, on the plane of speech, and on the plane of thoughts and emotions. But Mundaka Upanishad says, Yasya Jnanamayam Tapa. You and I also, suppose, go into profound contemplation, go into a profound, deep intellectual exercise, going deeper and deeper into what is thought. How is thought formed? What does thought do? An investigation into the nature of thought. Someone like J. Krishnamurti deliberated at great lengths on thought, on intuition, on insight, on intelligence too. Some of you who may be familiar with his works are aware that there is a whole book published called Awakening of Intelligence. And it has actually, as part of it, a dialogue between J. Krishnamurti, the iconoclast who did not prescribe any system or any discipline, any particular course of study. Rather, he asked how may we live? And a Vedanta scholar, Swami Venkateshananda, a disciple of Swami Shivananda, like Puja Gurudev, Swami Chinmayanandi also was. Swami Venkateshananda and J. Krishnamurti discuss topics like the Mahavakyas, the four great statements from different angles of view. Yasya jnanamayam tapaha. Therefore, how long will we labor on the physical plane, on the emotional plane? Rise to the plane of intelligence and pick up where I left. So Maharshi Ramana said to Ganapati Muni, find out where from the mantra is rising. Ordinary people find it hard even to pay attention to the mantra. Pay attention to the sound of the mantra. Ordinary sadhaks or sadhikas find it so hard to stay with the sound of the mantra. Their mind wanders. Here a greater challenge is given. The challenge is go to the source of the mantra. See, intelligence is the source. Sat-chit is the source. So we say, satapotapyata satapastaptva idagam sarvam asrajata. The mantra says, God, through a profound exercise of pure intelligence, not physical, not verbal, not even of the nature of thought. Maybe the psychology today uses it cognitive approach. But here the expression is the pure operation of intelligence. Yadidam kincha, whatever there is. And then come the two sentences. Tat srishtva tadevanu pravishat. Grammatically, it's a single sentence, but in the Vedas, tat srishtva, there is in printed publications, full stop. Tadevanu pravishat. Having created it, God entered into whatever He created. Oh, there is a lot of discussion on this. What does it mean? How can God enter into the creation? Does it mean for a moment the creation, whatever is created, was jada till Chetana enters it? And many technical points are raised in Shankara Bhashya. It is quite a hard portion for anybody to study. Therefore, it is said again and again, competent teachers who know the sampradaya. Sampradaya means the teaching tradition can impart this wisdom. But the sum and substance of all that discussion, or the final conclusion, Shankaracharya says, Tadeva idam akashadi karanam. God is the karana. He is the cause of even the most fundamental elements. Space, air, fire, water and earth. Akasha, Vayu, Agni, Jala and Prithvi. He is the karana. And this karana, the cause, karyam srishtva, creates this universe and then tad anupravishtam iva. See, Acharya Shankara brings the word iva. There is a hint that whole lot being discussed here is within the domain of adhyaropa, deliberate superimposition, to be dismantled eventually. Really speaking, Brahma alone is. Nothing ever happened, nothing ever is happening, nothing ever will happen or will happen. But we have to start from where we are. We are presently so much in the domain of space, time, and causation. Therefore, initially at least, the teachings have to proceed in the domain of space, time, and causation. Then what does it actually mean if there is no truly entering? That means for a while it was as though standing apart, and then it said, okay, let's enter and enter. No, no, no. What is meant is the third bullet here makes it very explicit. Antar guhayam buddhau, shining, shining in the cave of our intellect, in our heart. It appears to be drashtru. It appears to be the seer with something seen that's apart. It appears to be shrotru, the listener with something to listen to. Mantra, it appears to be the thinker with having something to think about. Vijnatra, it appears to be a knower with something to know. Vijnatra iti evam visheshavat, like Iva, this, Vata here is Matu Pratyaya. Having vishesha, having some attributes, it is perceived or it is appreciated as having some attributes. Actually, there are no attributes. So, rather than literally entering, what is meant is it is everywhere. When you see, when you hear, when you touch, when you think, it is Brahma only which is operating. Sa eva tasya praveshaha. Therefore, going round and round, the fundamental principle is again brought in. There is no compromise with that. Brahma alone is, Brahma alone was, Brahma alone will be. Even these divisions of was, is, and will be are an appearance upon Brahma which undergoes no change at all. Tasmad asti tat karanam Brahma. At this portion, there is a certain discussion whether Brahma really is. In fact, that whole Anuvaka begins saying, Asanneva sabhavati asad brahmeti veda chet asti brahmeti chet veda santamenam tato viduriti. That's how the Anuvaka begins, the sixth Anuvaka. If anybody says Brahma doesn't exist, uh, that person will cease to exist. He will lose his status, he will lose his peace, he will lose his wealth, he will lose his character. Not to believe in God is the first sign of disintegration. Believe in God, trust God, believe in something higher. In certain philosophies like Buddhism, they may not use the word God, but definitely the followers of Buddhism believe in a higher potential of existence. They meditate, they practice mindfulness. Why? For what? They want to rise to a higher appreciation of what life is. They are unhappy about living in conflict, living in some kind of slavery to sense objects and other things. So, in the light of how the Anuvaka begins, that never imagine Brahma or God is not, God is. The last line in this slide is Tasmad Asti. Brahma Asti. If you say Brahma Nasti, nothing happens to Brahma, but you will lose your peace of mind. Now, the last part of the mantra which we have selected is having entered Tadanupravishya. Anupravesha. This anu means because it is after creating, it enters. Anu means after. Pravishya means entering. Tadanupravishya satyatyachabhavat. So it's a very poetic, nice expression. It says, Tadanu pravishya satyatyachabhavat niruktancha niruktancha nilayanancha nilayanancha vijnanancha vijnanancha satyanchandrichancha satyam abhavat yadidam kincha tat satyamitya chakshate. We have selected some of the lines. There is a little more also around this. Having entered, it became all this. So the words, key words of this, we have put in red letters in the next slide, which gives Shankara's essential interpretations. What is Sat and what is Tyat? See, Sat Cha becomes Satcha. What is Sat? Sat is Murtam here, having form. And Asat, or here Tyat. Sat Cha, Tyat Cha. Tyat. Tyat is Amurtam, having no form. In these areas, it's all relative. An ice cube has form, and water has no form. Brahma became the ice cubes, having form and shape, and he is the water which has no particular shape. It takes the shape of the container in which you put it. Niruktancha, aniruktancha. Nirukta is something. Niruktam nama निष्कृष्य समान असमान जातिभ्यः देशकाल विशिष्टतया idam taditi uktam. When you categorize, when you classify, when you say this is of this kind and that is of another kind, everywhere human deliberations go into such categorization in terms of desha, space, kala, time. Let's say you talk about sound waves. Sound waves, 20 cycles per second to 20,000 cycles per second are the sound waves. Human ears cannot hear all of them, but broadly speaking, 20 hertz to 20,000 hertz, 20 kilohertz, in other words, is sound. And then there are higher and higher vibrations. What thousands? It is millions, millions and millions of vibrations, cycles per second, megahertz, gigahertz, and further. So this is called classification. What is classified and what is not classified. All that Brahma is. Nirukta anirukte api murta amurtayoho eva vishishyate. One is the gross form or no form. But here, as I gave the example, other kinds of classifications. Yata sat cha tyat cha pratyaksha parokshe tata nilayanancha anilayancha. The third pair of words used in the mantra are nilayanam, anilayanam. Nilayanam means needam, ashraya. Nida, incidental, is the word used for a nest where birds stay elsewhere. But broadly, needam means ashraya, shelter. Murtasya eva dharmaha. When you have something with a certain shape, it needs to be kept somewhere. Where when something has no shape, it goes everywhere. Air has no shape. Air enters into any place and makes it its home. But once you have ice cubes, I said, they need to be kept somewhere. Where are the ice cubes? In that box, in that bowl, you see. So these are in the relative realm, various classes. Anilayanam tadviparitam amurtasya dharma. Vijnanam chetanam. Relatively, certain things are alive. Avijnanam tadrahitam achetanam pashana adi. What is pashana? Don't say it's an area in Pune. In the city of Pune, there is one area. You ask somebody, long back I asked somebody, where do you live? I live in Pashan, he said. I didn't know Pashan is the name of an area. Pashan. So Pashana originally means rock, stone, considered as inert. But relatively, Brahma is in Pashana also. Satyam cha vyavahara vishayam adhikarat na paramartha satyam ekameva hi paramartha satyam brahma iha punaha vyavahara vishayam apekshikam satyam. So on a lower level, something that is available for transaction, like water. Shankara gives an example. Udakadi satyamuchyate. There's a glass of water. When you are thirsty, you can drink it. But if it is a mirage, mragatrishnika adi, you see reflection of trees and you think there is water. Come on, let's go drink it. You cannot. Vyavahara vishayam, this mragatrishnika vyavahara vishaya na bhavati. Kim punaha yeta sarvam abhavat. Satyam paramartha satyam and anratam is relatively, on one hand, satyam and anratam are in relation to each other. Then there is a higher Satyam, which is in both Satya and Anrata. That is Paramartha Satyam. Paramartha Satyam is in the mirage also, is in drinkable water also. Therefore, Tad Brahma Satyamitya Chakshati. Therefore, in this session of this series, we have gone by a certain way of thinking, and that, as I explained before, helps us dig deeper into Vedanta. Ordinarily, we are influenced by mundane thinking, materialistic thinking, and many of us who have studied maths or physics, biology or botany, science, and other subjects, we are so influenced by the angles of view of those subjects, by certain models. Today, education is to a large extent influenced by Western philosophies, Western discoveries, Western thinkers. And therefore, without our realizing, we actually are using not the truth of the West, but the models given by the West. Various structures are models. Even in politics, political science, let me say, democracy is a certain model with some faith, some regard. To have a king and the king rules the country, that is another model. God rules the country, theocracy, democracy, theocracy, and maybe there's some word with king as the ruler, regalcracy maybe. So you have aristocracy, where rich people rule the roost, aristocrat, democrat. Then there is communism, there is socialism. These are all models. They are not the absolute truth. You know, caste system is a model. Cashless system is a model. You think Russia has completely eliminated any hierarchy? Cashless, classless. Karl Marx conceived, dreamt of a classless society. Not even for a single day in Russia, that so-called classlessness was realized fully to an extent. So it's a very intriguing topic. Let me not go to social sciences or other subjects. Here is a model, here is a way of seeing things, here is a way of appreciating who God is, what creation is, who we are. And this way of seeing is conducive to a certain quantum leap. One can get a liberating insight through this. Om Namah Paramarashibhyo Namah Paramarashibhyaha Harihi Om Harihi Om Harihi Om.